maybe I'm getting older, maybe I'm getting smarter, maybe it's a little bit of both. But the longer I do this, the more interested I am in how much everything weighs. Hey everyone, Dylan Schumacher, Citadel Defense, and welcome to another video where we talk about scales. Now you might be asking yourself, Dylan, what do I care about scales? Why are you such a weirdo? But the truth is that things weigh stuff, right? So there's a weight penalty, maybe we should say cost. There's a weight cost to each of the items that you decide to carry in your ruck pack thing, whatever. And so on my loadout, I am becoming more and more interested in how much everything weighs. The reason is, as I continue to get out and move around and stuff, I like cutting weight where I can. I like trying to cut weight off my body. I like trying to cut weight off my kit. And at some point, let's be honest, it does get, it's kind of stupid crazy. Like there's only so much weight you can cut. At some point, this stuff just weighs weight, and that's the way it is. In one example of that, I really don't care too much what my rifle weighs. It just weighs what it weighs. I want all the capability on that sucker I can have, and after that, I don't really care. So when it comes to pistols though, I am particularly curious about this. So if you follow me over on Instagram, not that you have to, but if you're into that kind of thing, I'm over on Instagram. And I was playing the other day with this concept of like a supplement belt. Again, I've made a video about this in the past, but I was playing with it and I was thinking, okay, if I wanted to carry a pistol, like how would I do that? So I put my pistol on my belt and I put some mags on there. Initially I put 2 quarts of water on there and an IFAK and I'm like, man, this is kind of heavy. So I weighed it and it was like 20 pounds or just under 20 pounds. It was like 19 pounds and some change. And I was like, man, that's pretty heavy. It was heavier than my chest rig with 6 magazines, 6 rifle mags and 2 quarts of water on it and a blade. And I was like, man, like that's, it's kind of heavy. And so then I started to get really interested in weighing individual items, which is a journey that I'm going to take you along for right now. So this is my pistol, right? This is a Glock 17 with a 19 round mag in there, TLR1 light on it. This is a Safariland holster with the clip-in, clip-out system, the quick detach system. I don't know what they call this, on their mid-ride holster, right? And I was curious how much of a weight penalty this was costing me. So let's take a look here on the scale. So that is weighing in at 3 pounds, 3 ounces. Now, you could say 3 pounds, 3 ounces, like, come on, that's not that much, Dylan. Like, what's your problem? Be a man. Well, then I started weighing other things. So, for example, here is a PMag, 28 rounds, 55 grain. And that's coming in just over a pound. A pound, 0.2 ounces. Earlier today when I weighed it, it was 0.1. So, you get the general idea, right? Here's a steel mag with the Magpul thing on it. That's under a pound. That's 15.9 ounces, right? And here is just a aluminum mag, steel mag, whatever these are. I think they're aluminum. Aluminum GI mag, again, 28 rounds, 55 grain, right? That's coming in at 15.3 ounces, right? So under a pound. So they're all pretty close. Within an ounce, they're all a pound. Which means that just this equals 3 of these. You could carry a pistol, 19 rounds, I guess, plus we'll say one in the chamber. We'll give it the full 20 rounds, okay, right? 20 rounds at over 3 pounds, or 90 minus 6, what is that? That's 84 rifle rounds. 84 rifle rounds, 20 pistol rounds, right? Do you see where this is going, right? At what point is it worth carrying a pistol? Like why would you carry a pistol when you can carry a rifle and just carry more ammo? I mean, you got to remember, it's not just the pistol, right? I mean, okay, 3 pounds, what was that did I say here? Let's see. 3 pounds, 3 ounces, 3.1 ounces. We're going to call it 3 pounds, 3 ounces for the pistol. But then, you know, you obviously need more ammo for the pistol, right? So here's 2 17-round magazines in an AR-500 Armor pouch, right? With the 2 Malice clips on the back. That's another 1.6 pounds, or excuse me, 1 pound, 6 ounces, right? So you're looking at over 4 pounds in weight there just for 3 mags of pistol. You could carry 4 or 5 more rifle magazines and be at the same spot, essentially, right? I mean, if you just look at so this is a 17-round Glock mag, 115 grain, okay? You're coming in at 9.9 ounces just for this, okay? That means this is more than half the weight of one of these, right? This is a pound. We're going to call it, just give or take, right? 1 pound, 28 rifle rounds, 9 ounces, 17 pistol rounds. More than half the weight, less than half the rounds in pistol. In what reality does it ever make sense to carry this when you could just carry this? Like, you get what I'm saying, right? I mean, 28 rounds of capability out to 500, 600, 700 yards. 17 rounds, maybe if you're pretty good. I mean, if you're really good, out to 100. Right? Triple times the energy, right? Like, you understand, we all understand rifle rounds are better than pistol rounds. I hope you do. If not, let me assure you, rifles are much, much more effective at their job than pistols are, right? So again, I started thinking, why should I ever carry a pistol ever when I'm carrying a rifle? If I'm doing something and I'm carrying a rifle, why would I ever carry a pistol? If I'm gonna take the weight penalty, I might as well just take more rifle rounds. Now, there are some exceptions to that, right? Because you should be carrying your pistol every day, right? You should always have your pistol on you all the time, right? As demonstrated right here. Like, you should always have that with you. But if you're getting all dressed up to go out with the boys, right? You should probably drop it. You should probably drop it. Because you're gonna be carrying your rifle, you're gonna be doing other stuff, you're gonna have all this kit on, and you're gonna add now an extra 4+ pounds on the pistol to carry. Why would you do that? I mean, I was thinking about it this way, like in what reality would you ever carry a single-use tool that weighs this much, right? Why would you ever do that? If I were to hand you a stool, right, a fancy little fold-out stool, and I would say, hey, put this in your pack, it's a stool. And you're gonna say, well, why do I need this? Don't worry about it, it only weighs like 5 pounds. You'd be like, well, it's kind of a lot, Dylan. Like, why would I carry that? Well, because it's for sitting down. Okay, well, do I expect to do much sitting? No, but you might want it. Okay, well, all right. But aren't there, like, I mean, to be out in the wilderness, aren't there plenty of places I can just, you know, sit down? Like, aren't there logs and stuff? Like, do I really need a stool? Yeah, but this is a good backup. Like, if I said that to you, you'd be like, if you apply that logic to anything else, that's crazy, right? If you apply the logic of it's a redundant, single-use tool, and you apply that logic to any other kind of if you use that qualification, to pick any other tool, you tell me I'm crazy. So why is it that when it's a pistol, we get a pass on it, right? Now, maybe you would say, okay, well, Dylan, you know, hey, when I'm, you know, entering rooms and whatever, and I'm in urban environments, you know, then I definitely want a pistol, because if I'm 3 yards away from someone and my rifle goes down, I want to transition, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And I understand that argument. I'm sympathetic. But here's my other thought on that is, okay, look, as an everyday American Minuteman person, which you are, right? As an everyday American Minuteman person, how often should you be doing that? Like, why should you be putting on plates and going into rooms, right? And I understand there's a lot of people who would just call you retarded for even thinking about doing that or whatever, and I'm not necessarily in that camp, but I am saying, like, look, quit copying tactics, techniques, procedures, fight styles from the largest military machine in human history ever, namely the US Army. Quit thinking like that. Like, we've grown up in this time where we've had the GWAT my entire life, right? And so we all grow up thinking, well, that's how you fight. And I would say, no, that's how the giant military machine has fought for the last 20 years, rightly or wrongly, given their context. That's not how you, an everyday American Minuteman who doesn't have access to, a 20th of the resources that they do, should fight. That's not how you should fight. We need to quit basing our tactics, techniques, and procedures around that, and that means we need to quit basing our gear around that, right? And I've been on this train for quite a while. I wrote a book about this, right? That's what Minuteman 201 is about. It is about, look, just because you're an everyday guy doesn't mean that you should fight like the other people, right? We don't fight like the military-industrial complex. That's not us. We don't have those resources. We don't have those logistics. So our tactics should look different from theirs. And what does that mean? And so I think the weight discussion ultimately comes down to, how are we going to think about fighting, right? How are we going to think about being everyday American Minutemen? How are we going to think about fighting those fights? And what are the winning tactics, techniques, procedures for you? And how does that define the gear you should carry? Now, most guys in the Army, right, don't carry pistols, right? Who carries pistols? Police officers carry pistols because they have to use their hands a lot, right? Proper tool for a police officer, you got to use your hands a lot. Most of their engagements are going to be pretty close. There are some exceptions to that, let's be very clear. And that's why more and more police departments are carrying rifles in their cars, which is probably a good idea. But if I'm constantly having to get close to people to put handcuffs on them, having a pistol is probably a good idea, right? That's probably my preferred weapon there. But if you're, again, going out because America's been invaded by the Chinese hordes or whatever, don't bother carrying a pistol, just carry more rifle ammo. And not only that, we need to stop thinking that we can load ourselves down with as much equipment as a standard Army soldier person, or even a standard light infantry, however you would define that, Army soldier person, right? We need to stop carrying so much stuff. The only hope you have is carrying less stuff, is being able to stay in the field longer and move faster than the other guy. Because they have a big logistics train and they got to haul fuel and mortar rounds and, machine gun rounds and tank rounds and, all the stuff. Because they got to move all of that stuff and they're wearing extra body armor and whatever, your best hope is to carry as little stuff as possible, because it allows you to stay in the field longer under less stress, because your body just has to carry less weight, and it allows you to move faster, right? And we're talking like, if you have to move 5 miles, and you have to move 5 miles with 80 pounds of kit or 5 miles with 40 pounds of kit, you're obviously going to move faster with 5 miles with 40 pounds of kit, right? You'll have to take less breaks, you'll be less tired, etc., etc. Now, big caveat here, you need to be physically fit, right? If you're not fit, you're going to die, as the former cool YouTuber said, right? Like you have to have that. But I really think it bears in mind taking a very hard look at your kit, the ounces equal pounds, the pounds equals pain thing, and saying, look, what do I actually need here? And if I'm willing to make that trade, if I'm willing to strap that pistol on because I think the weight is worth it, is there a better way I could just carry that weight instead? Would there be a better way to make the trade? Would it make more sense for me to just carry 6 more rifle mags, right, than not? Like, this is our bandolier. This is a Minuteman bandolier, right? This has 2 40-round mags in it and then 4 30-round mags in it right now, right? And I weighed this just before I came out here, and it was like 7 pounds or something like that. So essentially, you could just carry this, and you don't need a pistol belt with all the other stuff, because this will be lighter and give you 6 more magazines, right? Like, are there alternative methods to carrying this stuff that's going to make you more effective on what it is you're trying to do? Namely, shoot a little bit and then move a lot, right? As an everyday American Minuteman. If you want to know more about that, buy the book, etc., etc. So I hope that's helpful. I hope that sparks some thinking for you. And I hope it gets you to look at your kit in a way that's like, look, what do I actually need here that's going to be beneficial to the mission that I'm trying to accomplish? Mission drives the gear train. So I'm looking at the gear and I'm saying, what is it in the eventuality here that I'm planning to do, right? And therefore, what should the kit be? Hope this is helpful. Thank you for coming along with me on this little journey of learning. do brave deeds and endure.